Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So, let's start with... Christ. Let's start with Sam and Jason, because here's the thing about Sam, and I talked about this yesterday, is that for a very long time, we watched a great character that a lot of people like over the last couple years turn into a POS. Let's just be honest. You know, I really felt like it happened for me personally when she was with Drew. The decisions that she was doing, you know, running in, and I've talked about this yesterday about her running in a really dangerous situation, practically, you know, getting Drew shot because he was distracted. He had to sit there and save her when he had the situation under control. Her poor piss way of when Jason came back and how she dealt with it. Because at one point I was like, I felt bad for Drew when, you know, Jason and Sam kissed. And this was like right after, or right before they got married. And so we go into this situation today. We go into the situation today where once again they just turned Sam into this somewhat poor piss character. And I don't know why. Sometimes I sit there and wonder, what are the writers of GH are doing? And I'll get into more of my little bit of gripes towards the end. But, you know, once again, she blindsides Jason, and she's just like, well, if you leave, then don't come back. What? First of all, that didn't even really seem like it made any sense, because towards the middle, you know, she's like, well, you know, we gotta break up and I can't see you anymore. So what does it matter if he leaves or not? Because you want him going anyway. Like, what do you want? Halfway through that conversation, she's like, you know, part of me wants you to fight for me. I can't believe they actually wrote that. I really can't believe they actually wrote... I was just like... I feel like writing her this way is disrespectful to the character, is disrespectful to the fans that like that character, and it's just disrespectful to the character, to the fans in general for watching this. This was a hour-long breakup, and I was like, it's like a doctor just, you know, putting a needle in my arm. You know, oh, I'm just going to give you a shot. Now I'm just going to leave it there for a little bit. That's what that was like. And I know I'm probably over-exaggerating a little bit, but at some point it was like, are we just going to... Is this over yet? Because halfway through, I was just getting so angry and so annoyed. And to be very clear, I'm not just mad at Sam. Okay, part of this hee-haw gotta go to Jason. But I just, you know, there was one part where they're talking, and Jason's like, well, you know, you've been feeling like this for a while, why haven't you told me? And Sam is like, well, what difference would it have made? Bitch, I guess we'll never know what difference it's gonna make since you just decided to blindside him. And that's part of my anger towards her, is that she could have actually at least talked to him about this instead of just pulling this at the last minute, because she just assumed that this is how he was going to act. You didn't even give him the chance to actually make up his mind, weigh it over, before you decide to give him this ultimatum. That's the reason why I'm so angry with her, why I'm so annoyed with her. Anger's kind of a huge thing. And I understand, because I know she's getting a lot of flack, and I'm not saying she doesn't deserve some of it. Most of it. I know a lot of people snitch to saying, well, she knew what she was getting into when she married him. Yes. But things change. You have kids. People change. Even if she didn't have kids, people change. You know? She could have been thinking it was cool 1 minute, and then years later, you know what? This isn't cool anymore. This is scary. I need to get out. I need to get away from you. Okay, fine. I get that. But her leaving isn't going to change anything. You honestly think, I mean, their marriage is public record. The only thing that's going to change her situation from getting to actually getting better if she decides to go into witness protection. And the only way she can do that is if she gave him up, gave Sonny up. Other than that, you live in the same town. And yeah, I guess we could sit there and try to apply the same thing to Jake and Liz. And to be honest, I don't understand why no one actually came lately for Liz, because she also has a son by Jason, but whatever. Now, part of this anger is going to go on Jason. Okay? Because as much as people said that they didn't like Drew or whatever, Drew chose to give up the business to be with Sam. He chose his family over Sonny and the mob. You know? Jason said, oh, well, I've tried to do that a long time ago and it didn't work or whatever. So, that's it? That's it? You're literally sitting there saying to her, yeah, I know it sucks, but, you know, I gotta be in the mob. That's... We can dance around it all throughout whatever. But at the end of the day, that's what I'm hearing from Jason. Is that, you know, that's all I ever know. And that's you know, I love being in the mob more than I love being with you and the kids. So, part of that, him tearing up and everything like that was like, nah, bro. Listen, as much as I love his character, and as hard as I'm going in on Sam, you don't get to sit there and start tearing up and crying because you chose to do that. You don't get to do that. That's not how that works. You made a choice. Okay? At any point, you could have been like, you know what, listen, I'll leave the mob, I'll change for you, we'll move somewhere else or whatever. You could have did that too. Those are always options on the table. Hell, you don't just have Sonny's money, you have your own money. So, yeah, I'm not exactly giving him a free pass either. I know Carly's going to sit there and go in on her, and people are going to be cheering for her, and also being, you know, and also really just, you know, coming at her neck. This whole thing is just, yeah. It's weird. I felt like I actually had more to say about that, but I really don't. And if it'll come to me, I'll probably sit there and talk about it tomorrow. But yeah, at the end of the day, bro, you don't sit there and get to be all teary-eyed and stuff like that because you're making a choice. A wrong choice, and now I remember what I had to say. And Sam, when Jason left, you don't sit there and get to start crying and being upset and sobbing and stuff like that, because I understood that it happened during the floating rib, and you're sitting there saying, oh, you weren't here. You got cell phones. Don't sit there and tell me you weren't here. Like, you couldn't say, hey, listen, this is important, we need to talk about this. There was a much better way that they could have handled how Sam chose to go about it. But for the plot, this is what they chose to do. Now, I'm going to end this on this note. Here's another little fun fact about Jason, or the way that they're handling Jason. I feel like they don't know what to do with him besides him being in the mob. I know he was on another show, I think Young and the Restless. You know, he wasn't, I don't remember what his character was, but I imagine he wasn't wearing all black. Okay, he wasn't being, you know, stone cold or whatever. They gave him lines, they had him talk, they probably had him laugh, they actually had him be, I don't want to sit there and say more than an android, but I mean, they had him do other stuff. I don't know if they feel like, well, listen, without Jason being in the mob, they don't know what to do with him. But I feel like they don't know what to do with him. And maybe they are afraid that if they change his character around, they have him do other stuff, that people aren't going to like him as much. And they're so afraid of that for literally 10 years, or however long he's been on it, that's all they had him do. So I really blame the writers for not actually being like, you know, listen, we can try to have him do something else for a little bit. Hell, they could have had him do something else, see the audience response, and be like, alright, cool, he can do other stuff. He doesn't just have to be, you know, stone cold, you know. They could have had him do something else, but whatever. I'm sitting there thinking, you know, honestly, to tell you the truth, all the other stuff, I mean, I guess it was sort of interesting, but I will give my little theory about why one character decided to leave, why one actor decided to leave, towards the end, if I remember. So Sonny had a meeting with Martin Gray. Well, let's be honest, he interrogated him. Him and Diane, turns out that they're brothers. So, okay, cool. So, you know, he talks about his childhood a little bit, and, like, you know, they're estranged from each other, and, you know, Cyrus takes care of their mother, and that's the only reason why he kind of tolerates him. And that's pretty much about it. Just more backstory about, well, Cyrus a little bit, but not actually much, now that I think about it. No, not really much. Just that they're brothers, and, you know, they're not really close. So, and then Sonny let him go. That's it. But Sonny was also calling Jason, and Jason kept hanging up the phone, and after a while, Sam was like, you need to answer the phone. And after a while, Sonny called Sam, and Sam answered the phone, and pretty much was like, you know, alright, you gotta go, you know, I understand you gotta leave. What happens if he doesn't leave? You're still gonna kick him? Oh my god. So, towards the end, actually Jason didn't meet, never mind. Cyrus, after that, Sonny tells Carly everything about Martin Gray. They gotta leave town, and then Cyrus walks over. He's like, "Oh, I just want to give my condolences to your family about the loss of your cousin." I'm like, "Wow." So we're just still poking the bear. We're just being a dick. Okay, cool. And you know, Sonny says this veiled threat about, you know, once I find the person who did it, X, Y, and Z, yada yada yada. This week is gonna be a little crazy. Because I saw the previews, so, yeah. Now what else happened? Before that, Carly went to Michael's place. Pretty much asked for forgiveness, and Michael was like, I can't do that. Which I don't know why. Because when they talk about it, you know, Michael even admits, like, hey, listen, I get why you didn't tell me, because, you know, you would have put me and Willow in an impossible situation, and you did it to help us protect Wiley. And I'm like, so why are you so upset for him? Why are you still so upset? You knew, see, this is the reason, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why some people don't like Michael. And I've always liked him to an extent. I've never been super crazy about him, but I've always liked him to an extent, but I understand why people don't like him. And in this scene, it's like, okay, so Carly told you why she did what she did. Why she chose to keep the secret about Sasha and Chase cheating. You know, not cheating. And that everything worked out in the end. And if she would have told them By the way, she even admits to Michael that she only knew about it afterwards. But if she would have told them during the custody hearing or whatever, then it would have had Willow make an impossible choice. So he knows all of that. So then why are you still upset? Like, that literally makes no sense. I mean, hell, for that matter, why the hell did Carly use the back door instead of using the front door? She's all like, oh, well, I didn't want an audience. Then why don't you just tell Monica that you need some time alone with your son? Like, none of that makes any sense. And so I was just like, are you kidding me? And towards the end, all it really came down to was Michael, you know, he doesn't know what to do, like usual. And that, you know, Carly's like, listen, don't push one way or the other. Just go with the flow. I'm kind of like, that's not really working for me. This whole who's going to be with who, is Sasha going to sit there and be with Michael, is Michael sitting there going to be with Willow, you know, is Brando, you know what I'm saying, is Brando going to be with Sasha, you know, it's all of this, we don't know what's going on. And then towards the end, when Willow comes back from talking to Sasha, because they were upset for a little bit, you know, well, Willow was upset with Sasha, but then they kind of, like, buried the hatchet somewhat. I don't think they're ever going to be, I mean, they're going to take a long time to get back to that point of them being, you know, where they were, but they're a lot better off than where they started. So after a little meeting or whatever, Willow and Michael talk, and all Willow pretty much says is, you know, listen, whatever happens, I just want us to be friends. Promise me that we're still going to be friends. And then Michael's like, I promise. Yeah, because promising to be friends always works out so well when you got complicated feelings going on between you and some other girl and you and some other guy. Yeah, no, I can totally see how, you know, he can hold that promise. Wow. I don't want to sit there and have anyone take this as I don't like Michael, I don't like Willow or Sasha, whatever. But this whole thing, first of all, just seems so melodramatic and kind of dumb. Kind of dumb. It's like, dude, just, like, what are you doing? Just make up your damn mind. Decide who you want to be with. Because this whole back and forth thing, you're just going to wind up hurting someone. Now that you know the truth, whatever happens, it's on you. So, make a damn decision and go with it. For a good minute, I felt like Curtis and Jordan's scenes were time wasters. He actually put time wasters there. Were time wasters. What they pretty much talked about was a way to sit there and get at Cyrus. And then Curtis had an idea, and he went to man, I really need to get some more water. Curtis went to talk to Laura about his grand master plan or whatever to find Florence Gray. And Jordan got a visitor, Epiphany. Epiphany came over, and Epiphany was like, listen, whatever this plan is, it is falling apart, and it's falling apart fast. Tells her all about all the stuff that Taggart was doing, shadowing him around, shadowing Trina and Portia, and because he's concerned, and he's a father, and yada yada yada, and Jordan's like, listen, when I see him, I'm gonna put him on a short leash and tell him to get the hell out of town. Now, this is after, okay, so Laura's there talking to Cyrus, and pretty much she's like, listen, just leave, okay? Just leave. At this point, I'd rather you just leave than you stay here and there's more collateral damage. I don't even want to put you in jail. I just want you gone. And that's when Cyrus is like, listen, I got personal reasons to stay here. I didn't just materialize out of thin air. I have a history in the past. And, somewhere along the lines, Laura's meant to talking about Lulu, and, she's going to be in a long-term facility, her kids are going to miss her and all that other stuff. Whatever she was saying to Cyrus, you can see in his face and the way he was talking that to some extent he did feel somewhat bad about it. Like, yeah, she was annoying, don't get me wrong, but like, I don't know if he actively wanted to sit there and try to kill her or get rid of her and have her sons or whatever grow up without a mother. It hit him in some way because he did wind up giving up more information than he thought about. Talking about Vermont as far as being like, you know, somewhere close, a good facility and stuff like that. And when Curtis comes over there, throughout their talk, they realize that Florence may be in Vermont. They got that through that place that they went to, the place in Puerto Rico. So yeah, they piece together that whoever this Florence woman is, which is probably their mother, she lives in Vermont. So here's the thing: this whole plan hinges on somehow using Florence Gray against Cyrus as far as leverage. Here's the thing: how is that actually going to work? Well, you think that he's just going to back off because, oh, you know where my mom is. I know where your kids are. Like, I know where TJ works. I know where Lulu is. I know Dante is not that far. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say he goes after little kids, but, like, I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, he knows still how to get to people. So, at best, all he's going to wind up doing is moving her, and we'll be right back to square one. Oh, here's a great idea. How about we put him in jail? Because, you know, that just worked out so well, right? You know, he nearly killed Sonny and his entire family when he was in jail. I don't really understand where they're going with this story. And I have to tell you the truth, I think at this point, I think I'm done. And if I missed anything, I guess it probably wasn't really that important. And what I was going to sit there and say is, and this is just a theory, that the actor that played Lucky left because, you know, all the mob drama and stuff like that. This is just from what I heard from, like, somebody in the comment section or whatever. I don't know how true that is, but, like, he just got tired of it. I don't know if it was him or if it was Christopher Tyler. One of them decided to leave because it was just mob central, and that was pretty much the main story. And when you stop and think about this for a minute, you think about all the different storylines that they got going on, that they push, we all know which story that they push the hardest. And that's the Sonny story. That's Sonny and everyone in his family with Jason. Which again, is like, okay, do they just don't know what to do with Jason if he's not in the mob? Like, listen, I love Sonny. I do. And I know he's a person that brings in the ratings, whether you love him or hate him. But I feel like sometimes that it's not exactly very balanced. You know? This is one of the reasons why I started watching Days again. Because as much as I love Jason, as much as it's been a show that I've been watching for a while, a long while, when it comes to its balance, I gotta give it up to Days. You know, because they don't, you know what I'm saying? At least from what I've seen, they don't just push one story more than the others. You know? They don't. Each week or each day, whatever, has an equal amount of time, and they treat each story with a certain level of respect. But when it comes towards General Hospital, it's like, alright, so we got Sonny and his main stuff, and then everyone else will get, you know, whatever. We'll figure something out. We'll figure out what we're going to do with Holly in that situation. Remember Holly? Remember that Holly's still alive? Yeah, me too. Oh, you know what's really funny? Remember that woman named Claudette? How she might still be alive? Yeah, I guess we'll just get to that somewhere along down the line. I mean, Lulu is in a coma, and, you know, Claudette was the person who actually, you know, birthed Charlotte, but, you know, that's really not important. I don't know. I know I kind of went on a rant there, but it does pertain to GH and just what they're doing. And I love this show, but sometimes when it does have cracks and when they do stuff that really makes very little sense, and they start taking characters and they start just slowly turning them into POSs, like Sam, I have issue. I've watched Sam, this actress, for a while, since the days of Port Charles. So I gotta sit there and say, yeah, this pretty much sucks, but whatever. With that being said, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in this whole episode, or these past couple episodes, or anything that I said, including the rant that I just had.